Hi there, friends, and welcome back to my Tarot Corner. We are back with another New Year's reading. If you didn't watch the last one, no problem. This reading today is a separate one, totally independent from the previous one. If you liked the last one, you might like this one too. Or if you didn't like the last one, maybe you'll like this one. But today we'll be looking at the same focus areas that we looked at the last time, which are the ancestry, generations, DNA. We're going to look at community, society, environment, and wellness, health, and self-care. So in the last reading, we looked at these focus areas and we looked at how we can jump into action this year, right? And be more mindful and be more engaged with all of these topics here. In this reading today, it's going to be a little bit more predictive. It's going to be more about what things can you look forward to, what blessings, what incidents, what happenings, what sort of New Year's blessings and happenings can you look forward to this year, especially in these three areas. Now, before we get started, I will say that the way tarot works, I don't believe that tarot can actually predict your future like to a T. I don't think that drawing cards is going to set your future in stone or anything like that. The way that I believe tarot works is more for self-introspection, self-reflection, and honestly just for entertainment purposes. It gives us a glimpse into possible futures, not futures that are set in stone. There may be things that come up during your reading that may actually apply to you. There may also be things that may not really apply to you, at least in this moment. So if you hear things that might not actually apply to your specific situation right now, you can see them a couple of ways. One, you can see them as things that may not actually have happened yet. They're possible futures for you. You don't know for sure if they're going to happen or not. But two, you can try to twist them around in your mind and try to reinterpret them in a way that makes sense for you. Honestly, the main thing that I want is for you to have a good time and to feel inspired or empowered in some way. So with that being said, let's look at our three piles and three lisi or hongbao or whatever you want to call them, our three envelopes here. The first pile, we've got the fish. The fish is lucky for New Year's because the fish in Mandarin is called yu, which is synonymous with another Mandarin word, also pronounced yu, which means prosperity. The second pile, we've got this dumpling. The dumpling is considered lucky because the bow shape is very similar to the gold shape here. And the third pile, we've got a tangerine or an orange. In Mandarin, this is called a 橘子. 橘子. So in Mandarin, it's kind of punny with another word for prosperity. It's called like ji. So, the Chinese, they love their puns. They love their lucky puns. So these are the three piles you can choose from today. Feel free to choose a lucky item or choose a red envelope, whichever one is calling to you the most. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and jump to the timestamp of that reading. Also, before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the decks I have that are created by Asians. I really love them and just wanted to give them a shout out. So on the one hand, we've got the Dream Vision Tarot. This is by Emma Zhang. This one just came out last year and it is so pretty. Look at this. Oh yes, we are going to be using reversals today. So, we'll see how the reversals affect your reading. So that's the Dream Vision Tarot by Emma Zhang. The second deck we'll be using is the Mystic Mondays Tarot by Grace Duong. So colorful, so pretty. This one we're also going to be using reversals today, so we'll see how that turns out. And the third deck we'll be using is the Way of the Panda Tarot. We are going to be using the mini size, but I do have the full size here as well. This was the first deck that I bought a couple years ago, and I'm just in love with it. Oh my god. The Way of the Panda Tarot by Kimberly, Tsan. I forgot to say her name, but yeah, it's just my favorite. Oh my gosh. All right. And also a shout out to a new deck that I got recently. This is the Asian American Literary Tarot. We used this in the part 1 of the New Year's readings. We won't be using them today, but this is, another deck that I recently got that I'm looking forward to studying more. This one is, it's a hard hitter. We got some really deep messages in the last reading, so I hope you give that a watch if you're into deep messages and, big brain think pieces. All right, let's get started. Hello, little fishies. Let's get to your reading. Let's take a look at what blessings, what events, what happenings can you look forward to this year. All right, so first things first, let's take this deck, let's shuffle it a few times, pull over some cards, see what comes up for you. What happenings shall we look forward to this year? What changes? What events? What's going on? What's the story of this year? Tell us, please, deck. All right, we've got one card. Let's start laying out some more. We've got the reversed Three of Cups. We've got Two of Pentacles. We've got the Hermit. Reversed Ace of Cups. and the Hanged Man. All right. So again, reverse Three of Cups, Two of Pentacles, the Hermit, reverse Ace of Cups, and the Hanged Man. So right away, what I'm seeing here is there's going to be a lot of soul searching for you this year. There's going to be a lot of re-examining and re-evaluating your relationships, your environment, your circumstances, just all of the things, the people, the circumstances around you. With the Hermit, we have, someone looking at their own light. They've got the constellations in their hood here, but there's just an absolute lack of color. The only color in this card is the light in this lamp here, which is such a contrast from such bright cards, such as these other cards here. The Hermit being at the center of this spread here just tells me that it's going to be a period of you coming back to yourself, possibly. Maybe there has been times in the past year where you've kind of forgotten yourself, or you've been a little bit detached from yourself, your values, your own needs. So this year, it might be time to kind of cast away the things that don't work for you, or to just have some distance from the things and the people that are kind of confusing you right now, so that you can get back to roots and just kind of connect with your own light, the light within, your inner wisdom kind of thing. I'm also seeing that supported by the reverse Three of Cups here. The Three of Cups upright can be a card about sharing with other people. It can be a card about like sharing joys, sharing happinesses, even sadnesses, sharing all of our emotions with other people. And having them share their emotions with us. But reverse Three of Cups, it feels like, there might be some areas where you have to detach from other people in a sense. You might have to separate or like put down firmer boundaries so you don't feel as enmeshed with other people. Maybe in the past year, you have really tried to make a lot of friends or like try to get closer with family, but you've gotten to the point that it feels like you have to step back and like extract yourself in a way. It feels like you have to strike some sort of balance here. The two here, Two of Pentacles is all about balance. You're balancing between the reverse Three of Cups and the Hermit. You're balancing between distancing yourself from other people, but also coming back to yourself. So I feel like it's not like you have to cut everyone off and you have to like isolate completely. This year, you're just going to have to take a closer look at, the people around you, the company you keep, the things you choose to share with other people, and see if that's worthwhile. Now, on the other hand, I will say that it doesn't have to specifically mean isolation. This can also mean re-examining if the Hermit energy is working for you as well. For some people, this energy might be reversed. Maybe you have not had enough of talking with other people and sharing and being joyous with other people. You've had too much of this like Hermit energy. So this year, you're kind of trying to reverse that. You're trying to come out of your shell, come out of your Hermit isolation. You've already had enough of your inner wisdom, and you're trying to flip this Three of Cups upright, just try to rebalance that energy. The reverse Ace of Cups tells me that this year you're going to be searching for some sort of emotional fulfillment. You might be searching for things that help you feel young again, I want to say, that help you feel like a spark for life, that just help you feel kind of simple again. The Ace of Cups upright can be a card about, new feelings, new emotions. I almost see this as a card of like puppy love. It doesn't have to be specifically romantic puppy love, but when I imagine puppy love, I just imagine like, oh, I'm so in love with life. I'm just so in love with like this new thing. I don't even have to think twice about it. I just know that I love it. And I feel like this year, you're going to be searching for this feeling of like, this feeling of simple love, right? This feeling of I'm just looking for something to help me fill my cup. I just want to feel so happy that I'm overflowing with joy and with emotions. I'm wondering if this has been something that you've been disconnected with for a while because this card is in reverse. There's two ways I could see this reverse card. One is you're looking this year for things that are going to emotionally fulfill you in ways that they haven't before. Or maybe you have had a bit too much emotional fulfillment in the past, and this year might be time for you to focus less on the Ace of Cups and more on like other parts of your spread, such as again, the Two of Pentacles with balance here. But what's interesting is we're ending the year off. Well, ending the spread off. This doesn't have to mean the end of the year. It could it's just ending this little spread here. We're ending with the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is a card of surrender. I definitely see this parallel here with the Hanged Man with the circle around the head. Just like the Hermit here has a circle around this head. The Hanged Man being upside down definitely speaks to themes about like surrender. It speaks to reevaluating, looking at things from a new perspective. Just like how in like TV shows or movies, there's that stereotype of like, oh, I need to see things in a different light. I'm going to do a handstand, see things upside down. Because one, it'll get the blood rushing to my brain. And two, it's going to help me see things in a new light because I'm physically upside down. That kind of idea. The fact that this hanged man has their arms over their heart as well, and there's vines growing, it kind of feels like they've been suspended there for such a long time that there are trees and plants growing around them. And with the arms crossed over the chest, there's a feeling of surrender. Part of the lesson for you to learn this year is learning to surrender to the universe, learning to surrender control to just the universe in general, or to other people if you don't really believe in like the universe as an energy. Something you are going to have to learn, and situations and challenges that you're going to be faced with are going to involve you learning to surrender control. It's going to involve you learning to be okay with things the way that they are. It is really hard to accept things the way that they are sometimes, especially when we feel like they could be better, when we think we know better. But I feel like part of what is going to make this year easier for you is just, again, learning to just let go of control, because there are some things that you cannot control. Sometimes by letting go of control, by choosing to surrender, just like the hanged man does, it'll help you gain more wisdom. It'll help you see things in a different light. I feel like that'll help a lot, because instead of focusing on what you can't or can't control, instead of being so focused on the self, you're just going to be focused on observing. You're going to be focused on being open to other things and open to what's going on around you, instead of focusing on, why can't I do this? Why can't I control this? There's just a lot of surrendering and light energy. The fact that we have an ace 2 and a 3. First of all, interesting sequence. It's like you're going backwards here, ace 2, 3. But the fact that they're like relatively low numbers, there's no like 8, 9s, or 10s in this spread. It just tells me that this year is going to be a year of you kind of going back to roots in a way. So also with the 2 of Pentacles, one of the themes for your year can be balance. It can be rebalancing just anything in your life, but especially the emotions of yourself, the emotions of other people around you that you're noticing and picking up on. You can balance between swimming in the sea of your own emotions and your own like soul searching, as well as showing up to the world, because the world needs you. You don't have to hermit completely. So my advice for this year based off of these cards is just to keep it simple. Really like focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on the things that make you feel nourished. It is a really good year to focus on yourself again. Or again, if you feel like you've been focusing too much on yourself, then focus more on what you can contribute to the people around you. Because maybe that energy has been missing in your life. You've been focused too much on the self and not enough on the people and the world around you. But now let's move on to the next part of the reading. So we're going to draw some more cards to do a second row here. So in this first row, we looked at some challenges and events that you might be going through this year. The second row, let's tie it in with this second card here, community, society, environment. Let's see what might be happening to the people around you this year. What might be happening to the people or to the groups or to the communities around you this year. If you have friends or family or other group that you're really close to, like keep a lookout for these, and let's see what comes up. All right. Let's see. We've got the 8 of Wands, the 3 of Swords, the 6 of Swords, and the 4 of Wands reversed. Okay, so looking at the spread here, the 8 of Wands, first of all, as the first card is telling me that there are going to be some things or some events. There's going to be some very fast moving energy around you. Maybe you have friends that feel like they're going at a roadrunner's pace. Like maybe you have friends that are getting married like next week and you're like, wait, I had no idea you were even dating someone. Now you're suddenly getting married. You might have friends or people that are like accomplishing all of these like life milestones that you didn't expect. They might be coming out of nowhere. You didn't expect this kind of energy coming, but all of a sudden you see them like they've got 8 wands shooting at the sun, and you're like, whoa, wait, where did this energy come from? And they're like, I couldn't tell you. Or maybe they could. I don't know. Maybe you haven't asked. But with the 3 of Swords and the 6 of Swords here, it also looks like there's going to be some sort of movement. 8 of Wands and the 6 of Swords both speak to a little bit of movement. With the 6 of Swords, I definitely get the sense, with the picture here, it looks like swords that are like kind of floating away at sea or in the ocean, right? So we have people that are like packing up their things that are like moving away in the ocean, kind of like sailing away. I feel like there's some sort of pain, and just sort of hard realizations that people around you might be going through. And that pain might be causing them to start distancing themselves in a way that, you might not really have expected. If you notice people are distancing themselves from you, you could check in on them if you want, because they might be going through some internal heartbreak that they're not really sure how to deal with. I feel like the Four of Wands reversed as well. The Four of Wands could be a card about generally celebrating like victories or successes, but reversed, I'm feeling like there might be some things that your friends or loved ones might be going through. It's like they expected something to happen and they expected like a really cool, awesome celebration, but then that thing didn't happen. They had high hopes for something, but then they got really disappointed. It is really hard to be disappointed. It is really hard to look forward to something and then be disappointed. I know that some people, it makes them want to not look forward to anything anymore because it feels like, why should I look forward to something if I'm going to be disappointed? If you find yourself thinking that way, or if you find your friends and loved ones thinking that way, like definitely try to check in on them, because help them move to a better mindset where they can be at peace with any disappointments that they might be going through. Whatever disappointments that they're going through, it will be a little bit easier when they have a friend to check up on them. It could also be something that they were looking forward to very much, right? With this Eight of Wands energy, again, this very fast moving energy, but suddenly it's ending in a reverse Four of Wands. It's like that energy got chopped in half and is flipped over. So it just speaks to a very unexpected turn of events where the thing that they were looking so much forward to, like that they were anticipating so much, like it's just got knocked out under them. So, it seems like there might be some tough times for anyone in your life or the groups around you, That's where some of this balance can come in because you're kind of learning to manage and be more mindful of your own emotions and other people's emotions, right? At the same time that you're doing all this like soul searching and like kind of internal thinking and internal reevaluation and balancing and stuff, you can also take the time to practice this Three of Cups moment, this like sharing with other people kind of moment. When I think of the Three of Cups, again, it could be a card about like, hey, let's have like a toast together. Let's have a drink together, a coffee together, those kinds of things. This is definitely a good idea, a good chance for you to practice strengthening your relationships, maintaining your relationships in ways that you might not have thought of before. I think it's also really interesting that the suits that came up for you are the Cups and the Pentacles, but the suits that came up for the energy around you is the Wands and the Swords. It seems like very opposite. Like we've got 4 suits in the tarot and like there's no overlap here. I think that is really interesting. It just highlights more the differences and how you and your loved ones can complement each other. If you see someone, having a hard time, don't assume that they've got it. Like if you have the energy and you have something nice to say, why don't you try saying it to them? Some kind words can go a long way. But again, there might be some sort of like movement here. So, maybe don't be surprised if your friends are like suddenly moving out of their parents' place and moving into a place halfway across the country, or like they're suddenly breaking up and they're trying to find a new date within the next week. Just trust that your friends have their own stuff going on. They've got their own Three of Swords, their own heartbreaks going on. And I think the important part is that we're there for them. You're there for them, like however they need. If that is helping them move across the country or helping them get on the apps to find another date and that makes them happy, consider that will make them happy. And if you want to help be with them and help unknot, take out these swords that have been stabbed through their heart, like let's take the time to do that as well. You've got 2 3s here, so definitely it's a testament to like you kind of mirroring the friends around you. So lastly, let's take a look at one more area here. We've got the Way of the Panda Tarot. Isn't this so cute? It's so tiny compared to these cards here. So we've looked at just general events happening for you, general events happening for the people around you. Sorry, there's a hair. And then lastly, let's look at just self-care, wellness, health. What can help you feel healthier and feel cared for this year? How can you do self-care? Let's see. How can our little Fishie pile do self-care this year? Take care of themselves. Come on, take care of yourselves. All right, got these 2. We've got Temperance. And we've got the Tower reversed. All right, I forgot if I pulled that one reversed or not, but regardless, that's the way I laid it down, so it shall stay like that. All right, so we've got Temperance and the Tower reversed. Ooh, interesting. So Temperance here definitely supports what I was saying earlier with the 2 of Pentacles, right? Temperance is all about balance, but I think this is such a cute way of showing balance and serenity because Temperance can be a card about, imagine like alchemy, right? Like you're trying to mix and match the right potion. You're trying to mix and match the right ingredients to get like the perfect potion. But like chemistry, you have to have the exact amount. You have to understand that, you need 2 parts of this to 1 part of that. You can't have like an equal ratio of everything. You can't have like 1 cup of everything. You need to be able to balance things however they need to be balanced based off of their importance, based on their priority, and based on how much you enjoy them. So what's interesting with the 2 of Pentacles, this idea of balance is like everything has to be even. You see how these pentacles are the same size, And each hand is holding one pentacle. This is a different kind of balance here. The idea with this kind of temperance is that it's like with alcohol as well, right? You're tempering alcohol. You're like slowly mixing in water to dilute the alcohol, or honestly, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm sure you get the point. Tempering alcohol, tempering your life. There's just some sort of balance that needs to be achieved here in your life. And you need to kind of get back to this state of temperance, a state of peace and calm in order to feel more healthy and cared for this year. I talked a lot about the definition, but let's look at the image as well, right? The panda is in this like little spa looking thing. They've got their hot spring, their cheeks look a little bit chubby, and they've got all this nice greenery around them. It just looks like such a peaceful moment. And I think literally that is something that you could take with you forward into this new year. If you don't have a physical like oasis, then let's work on building a physical oasis for you. What do you need to feel as physically happy and at peace and serene like this panda does? If you don't enjoy hot springs, then what other physical things do you enjoy? Do you enjoy sitting in a pool? Do you enjoy sitting on like really nice carpet? Do you enjoy sitting on a really nice blanket? If you don't have a really nice blanket that you like to cuddle up in, then let's go get yourself a nice blanket that you can cuddle up in when you're feeling really low or when you feel like you really need it. Another idea is plants, right? Like this panda is surrounded by plants, and some people love plants. There's this Instagram that I know of called A Plant Project. They have like hundreds of plants in their apartment. It is fascinating. You know, in the same vein, like you don't have to be into plants to build yourself a serene oasis like this. What physical things can you keep around you that will help you feel cared for? Is it an aquarium? Is it a fake aquarium with fake fish that you don't have to worry about killing or keeping alive? Is it fake plants? Because fake plants can be just as attractive as real plants. Is it decorative pillows? Is it, origami jars like this that my friend made for me? Let's think about the physical environment that you're in and how that affects your mood, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of other ways that you can think of to kind of make your space a little bit better. Those are just some ideas. Physical space is a huge component of healthiness and self-care, and I think some people don't talk about it enough. Ask yourself, what do I need in my lowest moments to feel cared for? And then when you're in a spot where you have energy and the motivation to do things, go get that space for yourself. Go create that space so that when you do get to those low moments, you're all set. You don't have to feel crappy and then crappier because you don't have the right environment to feel crappy in. So let's build your physical and mental oasis for yourself this year. Okay, so looking at the other card that we've got here, we've got the Tower, but reversed. This is a fascinating card. First of all, I think the Tower by itself is a fascinating card. The way that Kimberly chose to depict this card, we've got the panda choosing to strike down the tower themselves instead of waiting for an outside force to strike it down. The idea here is that, the tower tends to grow so big and so tall. It's almost like the idea of Icarus flying too close to the sun. Icarus gets burnt, and it's like a lesson on, flying too close and kind of getting too big-headed. The tower can be a lesson in getting too big-headed as well, because suddenly the tower out of nowhere gets stricken down. And it's kind of your choice if you want to rebuild the tower, regrow the tower in the same way that it was growing before. Or since you have to start fresh, why don't you start fresh in a different way, right? Like, why don't you have a new fresh start in a way that you didn't have the chance to before? So the tower being reversed, interesting concept here, because, again, the upright, it might give the implication that you should strike down the things that don't work for you. But I feel like reverse, it actually is supporting this hanged man energy, this surrender. A health challenge for you this year is going to be to sit with discomfort a little bit longer than you might have before, and to acknowledge the things that are not comfortable for you and to see how long you can hold on. Now, I don't want you to get the idea that I'm advocating like staying in abusive relationships or staying in harmful situations that are actively doing you harm. Obviously, that's not the extent that I'm talking about. I'm talking about situations where we're like, oh my God, my friend and I disagreed on something that's really serious. I'm questioning if we should even be friends anymore. I don't even want to see her on Saturday. Things like that. Things where you might be reevaluating something completely integral to who you are. Reevaluating some sort of worldview or some sort of really important thing. So I feel like a challenge for you and your health might be for you to sit with that discomfort and acknowledge it a little bit more and see if there might be a different way that you can solve this issue instead of knocking the whole thing down. Another interpretation of the reverse card can also be that you have to do even more of this energy. It's like a extra double fingers pointing hey, you really need to pay attention to this kind of thing. So maybe with the Tower reverse, it could also be an idea that you really need to look at the things that are not working for you, and you really you 2 times need to break them down. I feel like that interpretation does line up more with the cards that we've pulled at the bottom here. Again, this idea that you have to reevaluate the things that you're surrounding yourself with, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and the things that you choose to tell yourself. You just have to extra reevaluate that and see if it's serving you or not. I feel like oftentimes we allow ourselves to continue harmful patterns with ourselves, like negative self-talk or destructive behaviors, because we feel like we don't know any better, or we feel like we don't have the energy or the strength to do better. But take it from me, you do have the strength and you do have the resilience to know better. You have spent so long already being connected to yourself, and every year, every day, every month, you're learning even more about yourself. You ought to know by now how resilient you are, how courageous you are. You have gone through so many things, so many hardships, and you have chosen to become a better person. Look at this hanged man, right? Going through all these hardships and still choosing to surrender and release control to the universe and just let things play out as they are. So let it be a testament to your resilience that you can fight these battles. You can brave these rocky waters. You can brave these towers being destroyed. You have the resilience to get through all of these things, and you have the power to rebuild yourself back up in new ways and better ways after being broken down. Whew! So yeah, normally I would pull an oracle card to cinch off this reading, but I don't have any Asian created oracle decks. So I guess this is where our reading will end. Wow, this was my first time doing like large predictive spreads like this, but I hope you found it helpful in some way. If you haven't already, feel free to check out the previous reading I did, the New Year's Part 1, where we looked at these topics more in depth. So yeah, I will close out for here. I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, Dumpling Piles. Let's take a look at your cards for today. Let's take a look at what happenings, what events, what stuff is going to come up for you today. So first we will take a look at these cards here from the Dream Vision Tarot. We'll lay out some cards. We'll look at what happenings, what changes, what blessings can you look forward to this year. All right, let's see what comes up. We'll get some cards for our little dumpling pile, please. I think that's a plane passing by. All right, let's grab some cards. We've got the Seven of Wands, King of Pentacles, let's see, the Eight of Swords reversed, the Three of Swords, and the King of Wands reverse. We've got a lot of reverse cards here. All right. Let's see. I do have a rule that if the majority of the cards are reversed, then we will flip them all around. I think that a reading, the reverse cards ought to be the minority. Not four cards like this. Not 4 out of 5 cards. All right, right there. All right, so we've got the Seven of Wands reversed, the King of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, Three of Swords, and the King of Wands. Okay, so the first things that I'm noticing here in the center of your spread are this Eight of Swords and the Three of Swords. So the swords can be a suit of logic, reasoning, can also be a suit of our thoughts. It feels like there's going to be some sort of conflict this year, probably some major conflicts where you're going to feel trapped. You're going to feel maybe betrayed in a way. You might be feeling like you're questioning things, you know? It's like the things that you thought you knew are like turned against you and kind of making you feel in pain. There's also this element of confusion here. I'm just noticing how these two cards here have a lot of like darkness in them, you know? The 8 seems like they're feeling trapped in some way with this ring around them, almost like binding them like handcuffs. So it feels like there's some sort of trappedness that you might be going through this year. And again, the 3 just again being this internal pain. Now what's interesting here is that even though you have these 2 swords cards in the middle of your spread, you also have them flanked by these 2 king cards, the King of Pentacles and the King of Wands, which are also pretty opposing energies too. We have the Wands, which is very fiery and very fast moving, and we have the Pentacles, which is an earth energy, almost very slow, very deliberate. So it's almost 2 contrasting energies here, but both kings flanking these 2 swords cards here. The King energy is a very masterful, very professional kind of energy. So it feels like this year you're going to rise up to more of this this particular like Pentacles and this Wands energy, you're going to rise up more into this like very capable, very masterful kind of energy. If you haven't been in situations where you have felt in control or felt like you knew things before, I feel like this year is the year that you're going to feel more in control. Or even if you don't feel in control, you're at least projecting an image of control, right? Because who knows what kings are feeling underneath the surface? All we know is that they're projecting this idea, this image of them being very capable and very on top of things, right? That's something that you're going to be projecting, at least, if not feeling yourself. That's something you're going to be projecting outward more of this year. The King of Pentacles can be associated with like business, can be associated with like some business mindedness, right? Because the Pentacles can be related to money, finances. Some people relate to money. It can also be related to like just the pillars of our life. So it feels like you're going to be going back to foundations of your life and you're going to be strengthening them a lot more. For example, like let's say you're buying a new house. Maybe you're going to be buying a new house or like upgrading your home in a way this year. Whatever the case, whether you are buying a home or not, it just feels like you're going to be more serious about your living situation and your assets, just all of these important, tangible things of your life. It feels like you're going to be more serious about them and be more careful about them this year. And with the King of Wands, it also feels like this is a year that you're going to search more for things that are passionate for you, things that make you feel good, that make you feel excited, that make you feel like, yes, I'm ready to light this baton on fire and I'm ready to show the world like how capable I am. What I also noticed about this card here, whether you are searching for something else that excites you or you already have that thing, whatever the case, this King of Wands has a very controlled fire here. Like this fire isn't like burning the whole wand ablaze. It's got a very controlled fire, right? Like this fire is very contained. It's not like a wildfire, like burning out of control. It's very contained and very centered, very controlled, I guess is the word that I want to keep saying. So it feels like whatever pursuits you're going at this year, you're going to be more mindful of your energy and you're going to be able to control them better. You're also going to be mindful of other people's energy in a way that is not intrusive to you. And by the way, I am kind of speaking as if you are going to this year, but maybe these are things that are challenges for you. Maybe you might not already be feeling these things, but maybe these are challenges that you are going to be faced with this year. Now, going back to the reverse Seven of Wands here, because I kind of skipped over it the first time, I feel like this actually ties in with this projecting this capable energy of the kings here, because the Seven of Wands can be a card about like defensiveness. It can be a card about trying to show your true color, trying to show your values, just trying to show yourself or defend yourself in a way that is very assertive, but can be aggressive. I feel like assertive energy, when turned reversed, it can come off as aggressive. So I feel like part of the challenge for you this year in rising to this King of Pentacles energy and this King of Wands energy, these two king energies, part of the challenge for you is going to be tampering your own defensiveness. If you're having imposter syndrome, for example, you're feeling like, oh my gosh, people don't understand the real me. I have to do all that I can to make them understand the real me inside. Kind of question like, why do I need the whole world to understand what I'm feeling inside? Does King whoever of whatever country need to write a blog detailing like his innermost thoughts to the entire world? Does a king need to show like his trauma, his entire thought process to the entire world? Honestly, the king doesn't really do that. He doesn't need to, and he doesn't want to. The king knows that the important thing that matters is whatever his behaviors are and how they affect other people. It doesn't matter if other people see these innermost emotions of the king. The king doesn't need other people's validation to understand that whatever he thinks and feels is already valid. So I feel like with the Seven of Wands energy, again, it can be very defensive in a way. So I feel like part of the challenge, again, for you is going to be acknowledging that you don't need other people's validation for you to be capable and feel capable. You can feel capable without other people telling you you're capable. I feel like that's also where this Eight of Swords energy ties in too, right? Because this Eight of Swords can feel like you're trapped. I feel like sometimes when you have other people's opinions and other people's validation, sometimes it can feel almost like trapped. Like, oh my gosh, if I don't have other people's thoughts being expressed to me, if I don't know what other people think, I might feel trapped. Or by having too many people express their thoughts or opinions around you, that also helps you feel trapped. It might lead you to internalize their thoughts or opinions in a way that is painful for you, right? Like the Three of Swords, there just is this idea of internal pain. It's like these swords are being turned inward into your own heart here. So I feel like whatever hardships, whatever conflicts you're going through, this need for validation from other people, yes, some validation is helpful, but you don't have to rely on it to feel capable. That's what I'm really saying here. With this 2 king energy, you don't have just 1 king energy, but two whole king energies here. You are so much of a king already that you might not notice. So just keep leaning more into this king energy, keep leaning more into these things that you are capable of doing. And if you don't feel like you are reaching this king level yet, then let's figure out what you need to do to get there. The swords, again, is a suit of thoughts. It can be a suit of education, right? Like 2 swords cards, it's coming up and it's telling you to like get educated in some way. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like a capable king. Okay, what do you need to feel capable? Do you need to have the research, the wisdom to back it up? Okay, let's get you some research and wisdom. Let's do the work that is needed for you to feel capable and seem capable and be capable. Same with the wands, right? If you're looking for something that makes you passionate, like let's look into all these things. Let's get educated about what passion is. Let's kind of learn from other people what passion is. Let's learn how other people control their own passion and excitement and energy. They kind of hone that fire. And let's, kind of be the king that we deserve to be, the king that we ought to be. Whew, there is a lot coming up here, but I hope it is helpful for you in some way. All right, let's keep going with your reading. So we've got the second deck here. The second row, we're going to look more at the community, the society around you. So where this row here was looking at what's happening in your own life, let's take a look at what's happening around you. What might be happening in the lives of people close to you or the communities that you're a part of. Just any energies surrounding you. Let's take a look. What might be happening around you? Let's see. All right, I think one more shuffle. All right. We've got the reverse Wheel of Fortune. We've got the 3 of Wands, reverse Ace of Cups, and reverse Knight of Swords. So since 3 out of 4 cards are reversed, let's flip them all over. Let's see what's happening here. I am really loving your reading so far. There's just so much stuff coming up. All right. A little more here. All right. So what's happening around you? We've got the Wheel of Fortune, reverse 3 of Wands, Ace of Cups, and Knight of Swords. So what jumps out to me first is, the Knight of Swords and the reverse 3 of Wands. The Knight of Swords is a card about impulsiveness. We look at the Knight. The Knight can be like a teenager, like an impolished, like a immature or like unrefined kind of energy. The swords, being the suit of thoughts and communication, as what came up before, when we have like this immature, unrefined energy of the intellect, we get someone who's like rushing into arguments, who's rushing into debates, ready to make their own opinion known all the time. And with the 3 of Wands reversed, the 3 of Wands normally can be a card about patience. It can be a card about like, I've said my piece, for example. I'm going to wait and see what they respond in the morning. I'm not going to try to DM them 5 more times to see what they respond right now. I feel like that is definitely a direct contrast to what came up before, right? Where you have to tap more into this King of Pentacles and King of Wands energy. You have to release this extra like defensive Wands energy. So again, just there might be people around you or situations around you that are going to really try your patience mentally. Again, 3 of Wands being a card about patience. Reverse, it's a card about impatience. So it feels like you're going to be tempted to want to rush into things as well, just like this Knight of Swords. But I encourage you, or these cards encourage you, to stay back with this King of Pentacles and King of Wands energy. Because you know what happens when you speak too impulsively? You find yourself in situations where you kind of feel a little bit trapped because of the things that you said or did without even thinking. The things that you did on impulse are now coming back to bite you in the butt. That's where this trapped 8 of Swords energy comes from, right? With the Ace of Cups here too, I feel like this is another kind of fresh energy. There might be people that are thinking of like, they're kind of learning new feelings and they're not really sure how to navigate their feelings. So they decide to try to intellectualize it or they try to rationalize it. That might be something that might be trying your patience as well this year. But with the Ace of Cups too, I also see just an energy of like people exploring new things and they're kind of just feeling new feelings. So if you have friends that are like going through, their first relationship or their first, like, I don't know, moving into a new apartment, I keep thinking of apartment at home because of the Pentacles energy here, but if you have people kind of going through new things, this is a chance for you to be mindful of that and see how you can help support them in this way, Something else with the Ace of Cups too is it is commonly associated with the idea of like falling in love. So, maybe people around you are going to be getting into all sorts of new relationships. Or maybe you're going to be experiencing a new relationship with them. It's a new cup, a new type of relationship, a type of emotion that you're experiencing with someone. Now, with the Wheel of Fortune here as the first card, there's a couple of interpretations I could see for the Wheel of Fortune. One is that the people around you might be feeling the pressure, but from the clock ticking, because the wheel of fate just keeps turning and turning. The wheels of time just keep turning and turning. Your friends are getting older. Your loved ones are getting older, and people are just feeling the pressure of like, how come this pandemic has been going on for years? Or how come I keep getting older and I feel like I haven't done things? So there might be some things that are coming up, this year related to the wheels of fate continuing to turn. But another idea could be a turning point. So, just as we flipped these cards all upside down because they came out mostly reversed, maybe this Wheel of Fortune could represent like your luck changing or your friend's luck changing. For friends that may have been having some really good years, maybe they're going to have some extra hard hardships this year. Or for friends or people that have had some really hard times, you might find that your luck or their luck might be turning for the better this year. So, those are some things that you can look forward to this year from the people around you. Let's take a look at one more deck here. We're going to look at this third topic here, which is wellness, health, and self-care. So we're going to pull a couple of cards from this mini Way the Panda deck. Isn't this so cute? So we're going to pull a couple of cards from this deck here related to, we've already got a card for you, the Ten of Swords reversed. I was going to say related to wellness, health, and self-care for you this year. So first, we got the Ten of Swords reversed. How else can our dumplings be healthy this year? Oh my gosh, I just noticed you were like off frame this whole time. Oh, baby, come back. All right. All right. Wellness, health, and self-care this year. Let's do this card here. We've got the Four of Wands. Right. There we go. Ooh, I love that you're getting the Ten of Swords reversed as a form of health and self-care. I feel like you've gotten some swords up right here. So getting some Ten of Swords reversed might be actually, it feels like it goes together really well. The Ten of Swords, first of all, can be a card about like seeing the worst in things or feeling the worst. As we can see, there's like 10 swords being stabbed into this panda. But I'm also seeing the sense of like, it feels like you're allowing your old stuffing to come out so that you can be reborn again. The Ten of Swords upright can feel like there is some bad luck. Look at this mirror happening. Again, 10 swords is like overkill. 10 swords being stabbed in you. It just feels like the worst of the worst is happening. And you just feel like you can't handle it. But reversed, maybe it feels like you can handle it. Maybe this is the year that you realize that some of the things that you have gone through when you hit rock bottom, you recognize that that was your rock bottom and that everything has been going up from there. Or maybe this is the year that you do kind of hit a rock bottom, but regardless, you are still able to pick yourself back up, especially with the help of your friends. I'm seeing also with the reverse Ten of Swords and the Eight of Swords here and the 3, right? It's like you're taking these swords that were kind of handed to you or that you're kind of left with, and it feels like you're rejecting them in a way. You're like pulling out these swords. It feels like you're letting go. You're choosing to push out and just consciously let go of these swords that aren't working for you anymore. So instead of allowing yourself to stay trapped like forever when you might feel like you know better, you're instead choosing to reverse these 10 or 11, because 8 plus is 11. You're choosing to take out these swords and you're like pushing them out. You're like, you know what? I'm going to invert myself. I'm going to let these swords fall away because I know that this is not who I want to be. This is not what I'm going to carry with me into the future. I'm going to carry different things with me, and these swords are not it. So it just feels like some sort of like awakening or rebirth or like realization is coming for you this year. And also with the Four of Wands here, as how you can be healthier and care for yourself better this year. First of all, these pandas so cute. Gosh, they're so tiny. Sorry about the focus, but I hope this is somewhat readable for you. We've got the Four of Wands here as another form of health and self-care for you. The Four of Wands can be a card about celebration, can also be a card about rest, just like this panda in the middle. It's like taking a break while all these pandas are also kind of taking a little bit of a break. Notice how they're all kind of sitting down in somewhat comfortable positions, while they're climbing this big tree together. So this can be a year for you to also take breaks. Like, I feel like in the realm of self-care advice, of course, take breaks is like one of the basic ones, but it could be a very much needed reminder for you. I don't know. I feel like with this Four of Wands, it's a reminder for you to take breaks. It's a reminder for you to celebrate your accomplishments, to celebrate how far you've come. Even though you're not at the top of the tree, you're at least in the middle, and that's farther than you were on the ground, right? Like, at least you climbed up a little bit. So just remember to take breaks. Remember to celebrate the little things that you have accomplished this year and in the past that have led you to this point. It's just, you deserve it. You ought to do it. You need to. And not only do you need to, it's again in your cards, right? Like the King of Wands, you're going to become a master of this Wands energy. You're going to know when to have fire and when to not have fire. So you might not need to have fire as much with the 7 here, but you might need to have more fire with the 4 here. You might need to have more of this, like, celebrating yourself energy and like celebrating everyone and everything energy. Just you're going to be a king in so many ways this year, and it's just going to be an exciting year for you. So that is it for your reading today. A lot of cool stuff came up. I hope it was helpful for you in some way. If you haven't gotten a chance yet, feel free to check out the previous reading I did, the previous New Year's reading. We did go more in depth with these 3 topics here. It was more of an open-ended reading. That is all I got for you today, so I will see you in the next reading. Bye! Hello, Tangerines! If you chose this pile, then this is the reading for you. Let's get started. All right. Come on, stay in frame there. All right, there we go. So first, let's take this deck. We'll pull some cards. These cards will tell us what changes, what blessings, what happenings are going to be in your cards this year. What can you look forward to this year? What can you look for this year? Let's take a look. What is coming for you? Wow. We've got the three of Pentacles reversed. We've got the Ace of Swords. We've got the 9 of Wands reversed. We've got the 4 of Wands and the Queen of Wands. Ooh, look at that. I love the Queen of Wands. All right, let's clean this up here. So 3 of Pentacles reversed, Ace of Swords, 9 of Wands reversed, 4 of Wands, and Queen of Wands. Are you noticing this little sequence of wands here? 9, 4, and Queen of Wands. So right off the bat, I'm getting the sense that it's going to be a year of, passion, a year of energy for you. Part of what I'm seeing here with the 9 of Wands reversed is, upright. The 9 of Wands is like pushing back on something. It seems like there are a lot of wands, a lot of energies, or a lot of conflicts, or just situations, a lot of things happening that are being pushed at you, but you're kind of pushing back in a sense. That's energy of the 9 of Wands. It's like pushing back energy, right? But reversed, wondering what that means. I'm wondering if there was an aspect of you kind of having put up with so much in the past few years, you feel like you're on your last stand. And this might be the year that you're able to let some of that energy go. No longer do you feel like I'm holding off everything with one hand. Now you finally have a chance to, maybe these wands are finally getting off your back this year. I feel like once these wands are off your back and no longer pushing at you and causing all this hardship for you, you can finally start celebrating and being more grateful for the things that you have. You might be at a sense of peace. Honestly, I'm seeing a sense of peace here with these plants and seeing this sun over this nice stable little home here. Just a sense of peace. You're finally able to stop like clenching your fists. You're able to open your hands and feel more open to receiving. That's kind of the energy I'm seeing here with the reverse 9 and moving into this upright 4. With the Queen of Wands here too, I definitely see this idea of you being more radiant, possibly because you don't have these like negative wands energy on your back anymore. Notice how this queen is like shining. The colors within the queen are also shining through her wand here. It feels like you're going to find ways to embody more radiance and more confidence this year. The Queen of Wands energy is just someone who like embodies the wands energy, embodies the sun energy. It's like she has this little sun earring here, right? And the Queen of Wands energy is just very self-assured. And I want to say that this kind of energy is something that you are moving into this year. This very much self-assured, this very much like, I don't care what color you are, like whether you're light or dark, whether you're happy or sad. I just am going to shine brightly because it's all I know how to do. It's all I can do. And it's all I want to do. There is just that type of energy, that I'm going to shine energy within you, or coming for you this year. I'm also seeing that part of this confidence might also be coming from this Ace of Swords. This Ace of Swords could represent like some sort of new energy, new idea, new thought process. Notice how within we've got this like night sky here, but this swords is like kind of cutting away, kind of like moving away the curtains of the darkness here. There's just this idea of you like cutting away at the confusion. It feels like the brain fog is like clearing away because you have a new idea. You have like some new awakeness within you that is ready to emerge and that you're coming to realize this year. And maybe it is this new outlook, this new thought, this new suggestion, whatever this new thing is, it's kind of it's leading you towards this Queen of Wands energy where you do feel more open, you feel more open to receiving, you feel more able to rest. So maybe it is a major or a minor like mindset shift that is coming for you that you're going to be realizing this year. I feel like with this reversed Three of Pentacles too, it's interesting. The Three of Pentacles upright can be a card about collaborating with other people. It can be a card about like pulling your own weight. I'm wondering if reversed, you might be in some situations this year where other people that you're working with are not really pulling their own weight. It feels like more of the weight or the burden kind of falls onto you. There might be situations where, you're expecting other people to pull all three pentacles, but you're kind of left pulling all three instead of the other two doing their share of the work. But I feel like that's something that is going to help lead to this new breakthrough, this new wisdom that you're going to be accomplishing. You don't need to get so bogged down in the why are other people not doing this. I mean, of course you can, especially if it's something important. But I feel like something that you might not expect or realize is that it is going to lead to new lessons that just you didn't expect, honestly. And these new lessons, all of these things, that is also where this like reverse Nine of Wands might come in too, because you might be starting off feeling like the Nine of Wands, like, oh my God, I'm like Atlas holding everything on my shoulders all by myself. But as you go forth, as you might have a mindset shift, this Nine of Wands might become reversed. So instead of feeling like Atlas, like you're all by yourself, you're going to cave at any moment, you're feeling more of this Queen of Wands energy. Like, you know what? I'm not caving at all. I actually got this. I also know who else I can turn to for help. I know that I can turn to myself for help. I have the bravery and the confidence and the courage to call people out and ask them and get to know why they're not able to pull their weight. I'm able to do all this from a compassionate perspective instead of an accusatory perspective. I feel like that's the kind of approach the Queen of Wands takes. She tries to understand rather than trying to accuse, just sharing this light instead of trying to point a spotlight at someone. So yeah, those are some things that might be coming up for you this year. Now, I also want to say that the Three of Pentacles, it doesn't have to refer only to collaboration or teamwork. It can also refer to just being competent at your job or competent at whatever you're doing. So maybe there are going to be areas where you might be dropping the ball in some places. You might be feeling, or you might be coming off as incompetent in some way. But again, I feel like if you're bad at your job or if you're bad at what you do, it is not the end of the world. Again, it might lead to new breakthroughs. Like one breakthrough might be, you know what? I actually don't really like this job as much as I do. And this laziness, this unmotivation is just proof that this job just isn't the one for me. I'm going to move to something else. So maybe this breakthrough that you have as a result of your supposed incompetence is going to lead you being able to push away these things that have made you feel so bad and so burdened for so long. And it's going to open your mind and open your heart and open your life up to bigger and better things. It doesn't have to be bigger things, could just be better things. So yeah, that is another theme of the Three of Pentacles, could be competence or incompetence. With the Three of Pentacles as well, it can also refer to being prepared for something. Imagine having like all your ducks in a row before you get started on something. So there might be areas this year, or there might be challenges this year where you don't have the chance to prepare as fully for something as you may want to. You're trying to like scramble to get your presentation done last minute, but then you're expected to present your thing like the next hour instead of the next day. It's something you have to, scramble to like prepare as little as you can or as much as you can in the little time that you have. But again, I feel like this incompetence, this unpreparedness, this like instability is going to feel really scary. But again, it's going to lead you to new places, that new mindsets, new places that you just didn't really expect before. So I think just trust me, trust the cards, trust the universe, that whatever hardships you might be going through, they're not going to be as bad as you think, and they're going to lead to new mental breakthroughs, new things that you're going to realize. And at the end of it all, again, you're going to move into this Queen of Wands energy, who is very capable and very much a ball of sunshine, a ball of capability. The Queen of Wands has everything down pat, and even if she doesn't actually have it, she'll pretend that she has it. And that already is really convincing for other people. So let's look at the second row here. In the first row, we looked at the things that are happening for you. In the second row, let's look at the things that are happening in your community, society, the friends around you, the family, the groups of people around you, just general energies, what might be happening around you this year that you can take note of. Let's take a look. Whoa. We've got the Ace of Pentacles reversed. We've got the Moon. We've got the Seven of Wands. Wow, just more Wands cards coming out. And lastly, let's see. This one here. We've got the Magician. All right, let's see what we've got. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles reversed, the Moon, Seven of Wands, and the Magician. More Wands cards coming up here. And another reverse Pentacles card here. So the first thing that comes to mind here with the Moon and the Magician is I'm wondering if people around you are going to be creating things that they've been sitting on or dreaming about for a long time. The Magician is an energy of creating, right? Like the Magician, like Harry Potter or any sort of other magician, is someone that just wills things to come to life. Although for the Magician, they know that it's not just a matter of like, I think it and I create it. Of course, they have all the tools to make it happen. But for the Magician, they definitely do have the willpower to create the things that they have wanted to create for a while. And I'm wondering with the Moon here and with the Magician, the Moon kind of speaks to these ideas of like dreams, could be illusions, could be just things that are kind of hazy that are like maybe coming to light. So I feel like the Magician is taking these things that they have dreamed about, they've kind of kept on the down low, they kept in the dark for a while, and they're bringing it to light. But I'm noticing with the Seven of Wands in the middle here, the middle of the Moon and the Magician, it feels like they're going to be fighting a lot for what they want to happen. I'm wondering if they're going to be fighting you. Are you an obstacle for whatever this person is trying to create or whatever this person is trying to make happen? Or on the other hand, maybe they're trying to fight for what they need, but they need your help in doing so. So, if you have a friend that is trying to start a business and they're like, I need help setting up this, and that, you're like, you know what? I had a reading that said exactly this would happen. I got you, fam. Speaking of businesses, funny that that's the first example that comes to mind because the Ace of Pentacles here, the Pentacles card, the Pentacles suit can be a suit about like our material assets, it could be money, it could be our foundations, just any tangible things, any foundations. That's the first thing that comes to mind with the Pentacles. So with the Ace of Pentacles being reversed, I feel like there might be some sort of thing that they need to get started that they're not really sure how to go about. It's like starting a business, for example, right? Like what's the first thing you need to start a business? Heck if I know. Heck if someone else knows. So your friend that might be trying to start something that they've been dreaming about for a while, they might need some help from you or from other people in getting started. They might not really have the foundational knowledge into how to get started properly. Now, another interpretation for this spread could be that, your friend or whoever around you might be going through some kind of confusing times with the Moon here. Like the Moon can be a very major energy, being a major arcana here. Notice how this art, it's very dark and this person is just sitting in the dark, kind of naked. Nakedness kind of implies vulnerability. It can also imply like lostness. Oh, sorry, it's shaking. It can also imply just some sort of confusion because you're not really seeing things clearly. Notice how like this card is dark, whereas all these other colors are very bright. So maybe your friend or whoever is going through a period of just confusion. They might feel very defensive. They might feel like any people who are trying to check in on them are like out to get them. Or anyone who's trying to just ask questions or like invite them out for a meal is like out to get them or like has ulterior motives or is like trying to ruin their life or something. So, there's another interpretation of like the Moon and the Seven of Wands here. Now, conversely, if you are trying to tap into this magician energy, if there's something that you have been trying to get started or like get created, then this is a chance for you to look for your friends who are also very adept at creating things, who are very adept at making things come to life, who are adept at gathering the tools and the resources needed to make these things happen. So, this can be something that's going on in your friend's life, but this can also be an energy that you can tap into because, these are the people, the energies around you. Definitely take note of the reversed pentacles here in both of your readings and your around you energies. Reverse Three of Pentacles, reverse Ace of Pentacles. It just seems like this year you've got to be extra careful with your money, but also your trust, also your foundation, also your time. Just these things that are very like integral or foundational to your life. Like just be really mindful of that so that you don't end up like wasting things that are kind of important. So yeah, that's all I'm getting from these cards here. Lastly, let's draw from one more deck. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot, but it's the mini version. Isn't it so cute? So this last couple cards, we will look at the self-care portion, the health, wellness portion. And health doesn't have to specifically mean financial. It can mean financial health. It can mean physical health, mental health. It can also mean community health, any sort of health. So let's grab a couple cards for you for advice for taking care of yourself, advice for your health this year. 2 panda cards for our tangerines, please. All right. We've got the 6 of Pentacles reversed. Let's see. And we've got the Queen of Swords. Ooh, another queen has showed up. All right. Let's put this here. Okay, literally we've got another Pentacles card reverse and it's all on this section. So again, I feel like it is just driving home the message of just be extra careful with all of your tangible resources this year and the foundations of your life. The 6 of Pentacles especially does talk to that be careful of who to trust and be careful of how many baskets you put your eggs in kind of idea. The 6 of Pentacles can be a card about reciprocity, like how these pandas are all sharing these bamboo, these resources, these coins together. But reverse, I feel like it's just a warning or an advice for you to be careful with who you trust and how you choose to share your resources. This can mean 2 things. It could mean being more conservative with, the things that you spend on or the things that you have, the things that you share. But conversely, if you feel like you have been a bit too conservative, you can also lean into the other way. You can start giving a bit more if you can afford to. Maybe this is the year that you start donating more to nonprofits or more to individuals that matter to you, that make an impact on your life. Even your own friends. Maybe this is the year that you spend more on your friends because you realize that you might have been a little bit stingy in the past. And of course, here the theme is within health and for self-care reasons, right? So obviously, if you only have like $5, don't be spending $5 on your friends. Like the whole point of these 2 cards here is more for health. Like how can you boost your own health or the health of people around you or your own, again, your own financial health, your own physical and mental health. So if you find that you've been giving a lot or not enough in some ways, this is a chance for you to reevaluate and kind of rebalance the scales and kind of re-choose where you want to divvy out your pentacles to. And the other card here with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, again, wonderful that you've got 2 queens here. Just love that. Both of these cards are also all about action. They're very active suits compared to the Cups and the Pentacles, which can be more passive suits. So the Queen of Swords is someone who is very sharp. Okay, obviously with the sword, there's that connotation of like being sharp because the sword is sharp, right? But also the Queen of Swords, first of all, the Queen of Swords embodies this like cool mom persona. Notice how she has these like cool sunglasses on and the panda's got these also cool sunglasses on. It's just super cute. But I feel like this Queen of Swords just embodies this very cool energy, which is very funny because the Queen of Wands, we were just talking about this, she has this very fiery energy. So I feel like you've got to balance both of this like cool and hot energy this year. But regardless, like this is the year that you can be more mindful of which situations call for the cool energy and which situations call for the hot radiance energy. The Queen of Swords she has a sword because she's not afraid to like cut you off if you're not doing something that like is to her standards. If you have been missing this kind of like harsh, critical energy, then this could be a chance for you to tap more into that this year for the sake of your own health. Conversely, the Queen of Swords, this can be advice for you not just to tap more into this energy, but also to be more mindful of this energy overall. So this type of energy is Queen of Swords energy, right? Like she's very sharp with her words. She can be very blunt, very direct with her words when she needs to or when the situation calls for it. I feel like if this is something that you have needed more of this year or in the past years, then definitely try to tap more into that this year for the sake of your own health. If there are things that you have seen that are not appropriate, either for you or for other people, this is the time where you can start speaking more, speak up more in the ways that you know how or in the ways that you need to learn how. Conversely, if you have had trouble with holding your tongue, then let's tap more into the Queen of Swords energy that way, where you're being more wise about when you're choosing to talk or not talk. Being more careful with your words, right? Like that is also another asset of the Queen of Swords. She has to learn how to be more careful with her words and how they might be able to cut others. Regardless whichever side you fall on, I'm sure there is room for you to be more mindful of this idea of, your words and your values overall and how that manifests in your life. But yeah, that is your reading for today. Lots of cool stuff that came up. I hope it was helpful for you in some way. Let me just put these up a little bit more because these are being covered, these poor cards. Anyway, so that is your reading for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good insights and some great inspiration and all that from this reading. If you haven't already, feel free to check out the part 1 New Year reading. Part 1 is where we looked more at these topics in depth and just looked some more prompts and stuff like that. But yeah, so that concludes your reading for today. I hope to see you in another video. Bye!